Hello everybody, welcome to the second lesson. The objective of this lesson is going to be to apply the correct use of simple present tense in affirmative, negative and interrogative sentences. Remember that there are going to be some parts of the video where you have to stop the video and do the activities first. Okay, so let's start with the lesson. Okay, we're going to start the lesson in a different way this time because I'm going to explain you the use of present simple first. You have to take some notes during the presentation, so pay attention. We're going to use present simple to talk about habits and routines. And this time you're going to learn how to say and write sentences in affirmative, negative and interrogative form. Let's start with affirmative form. You have to follow the next structure. Subject first, the verb, and then the complement. Remember that the subject can be the name of a person, an animal, or a pronoun. Look at the example. I work in an office from Monday to Friday. I is the subject, work is the verb, and in an office from Monday to Friday is the complement. But pay attention, because if the subject of the sentence is third person singular, he, she, or it, you have to add an S at the end of the verb. Look at the example. She works in an office from Monday to Friday. Okay, the pronoun is she, the subject is she, so you have to add an S at the end of the verb. But you also have to pay attention with the verbs, because if they finish in SH, CH, Z, O, X, or S, you have to add an ES at the end of the verb, not only the S. Look at the example. The verb is wash, so you have to write or say washes. And the other example is mix, so you have to write or say mixes. Let's continue with the negative form. Okay, the structure is the next one. First, subject, then you have to use do or does, then not, the verb, and finally the complement. You have to use the auxiliary do with the next pronouns, I, you, we, and they. And you're going to use the auxiliary does with the pronouns he, she, and it. You can say do not or does not, but you can also say don't or doesn't. Okay? Look at the example. She doesn't go shopping every Saturday. The other example is I don't listen music every afternoon. Pay attention to this. In the negative form, you have to forget about the S rule. We're not going to use the S or ES at the end of the verbs. Pay attention to that. And finally, let's finish with the interrogative form, the questions in present simple tense. You have to use at the beginning of the sentence do or does, the auxiliary do or does, then the subject, then the verb, the complement, and finally the question mark. Look at the example. Does she buy jeans every month? Okay, so did you get it? Excellent. Let's continue with the lesson then. Okay, so now I need that you please open your student books on page number 14, please. Page number 14. And I need that you please take a look at activity number 2, this part. Here we have different examples using the structures of the different forms of present simple, okay? So let's see. Positive, negative, and questions. Okay, here we have the first example says, I like milk. And the negative form of the same sentence is, I don't like milk. Then we have, you like milk. And the negative form is, you don't like milk. Then we have, he, she, and it likes. Remember that? The S likes milk. And the negative form is, he, she, it doesn't like milk. So in this time, the auxiliary is doesn't, not don't, because the pronouns are he, she, and it. Let's continue with the next sentence. We like milk. The negative form is, we don't like milk. And finally, the positive sentence, they like milk. And the negative form or negative sentence is, they don't like milk. Let's continue with the questions now. Do I like milk? Do you like milk? Does he, she, it like milk? Do we like milk? And do they like milk? Okay, and that's it. So now let's make activities. Activity number 3. Complete the sentences. Use the present simple of the verbs. Here we have different sentences and different verbs in parentheses. You have to use the verbs in parentheses and write the correct form in each space. Okay? So let's see. The example number 0. I don't like roller coasters. So you have to use not like, and the pronoun is I, so you have to use don't like roller coasters. I get really scared on them. Number 1, my dad not sleep a lot. He only 5 or 6 hours. Okay, so now I need that you please stop the video and do the activity. Did you finish? Great. Let's check them. Number 1, my dad doesn't sleep a lot. He only needs 5 or 6 hours. Number 2, do you study English? Yes, I do. Number 3, my dad cooks really well, but he says he doesn't enjoy it. Number 4, does your sister play in the school football team? No, she doesn't. Number 5, my grandparents don't like traveling. They prefer to stay at home. And number 6, my brother watches TV all day. He doesn't do anything else. Okay? Great. Okay, and that was the end of the lesson. So now let's check the homework, because you have homework this week. Pay attention. You have to open your workbooks on page number 10. Page number 10, please. And you have to do activity number 1, 2, and 3. Let's check each one. Number 1, circle the correct option. So here we have different sentences and different options. So you have to circle the correct one. For example, number 0, my mom go or my mom goes to work by car. The correct option is goes. Okay, so you have to circle. the verb in this case. Activity number 2. Rewrite sentences. Make the positive sentences negative and make the negative sentences positive. Okay, look at the example. Sally doesn't watch a lot of TV. Sally doesn't watch. This sentence is negative, so you have to write it in positive or in affirmative form. The correct answer is Sally watches a lot of TV. Okay? And finally, activity number 3. Use the words to write questions in the present simple. So here we have different words and you have to use them to create questions in present simple. Number 0. Where you live. The correct answer is where do you live? And that is the end of the lesson. Remember to do your homework, that's really important. And we're going to have a live streaming this week where we are going to be checking the activity there. Okay, see you next lesson. Bye!